What's up, guys? Smash Adams here, and today I'm going to do a deck profile on my Monarchs. Now, the reason why I decided to do this deck profile in particular, mainly because it's a powerful deck to play this format, and because it's budget-worthy, also with some of the new support out, it's safe to say that this deck has a lot more versatility compared to the old-school version with the Mega Monarchs, and even though the Vassals are good, if you were to run a pure Monarch deck, this is one of the decks to go for if you were to go into a competitive range. I, for one, believe that this deck is going to be seeing some play in some big-time events via regionals, YCSs, and stuff like that, even though I'm not going to go. But I know where I'm at, a lot of people at my locals are going to be playing this, and I've got to say, this deck is fun. I've play-tested it many times on Dueling Network and DevPro, but the results in DevPro were, in my opinion, the best because the matchups were a lot better. I was able to find out what I was going to be going up against if I were to ever play test this deck out in real life, and sure enough, I was able to get that done in a heartbeat. But overall, I love where it's going. I may update it here and there if I decide like what's not working for it. But overall, the way it's going right now, after doing a couple of run-throughs and a couple of testings, the deck is fine on its own. Especially with the field spell, it gives the monsters that you have more extra leverage to go off their plays without the 2-monster tribute. So you have more options to go off of. So without further ado, hope you all enjoy this vid, and I will explain a couple of my tech choices, and here is Monarchs. Start off, of course, we've got 3 Ehther, your main Monarch to go for. And if you want to special summon another one, that way you can do the quick effect ability, because it does interfere with a lot of plays on your opponent's turn. You can do so. You don't always have to wait for Escalation to do this. Just as long as you get the necessary components to do it, you should be fine. But this is the best one to go for, especially first turn, because a majority of my matchups, I always went first turn, and I was hoping for this, especially with an Edea, and a majority of the time I did get it. But that's one of the main things you have to go for. You always have to get the Squires in order to utilize your abilities with Ehther or Erebus if you have it, or anything else for that matter that you run. Next we got, of course, 3 Erebus. It's the secondary Monarch that you use. Even though its stats are really good, I personally would hope for an Ehther more than an Erebus. Even though it does get back your tribute foddered monsters, like say a Caius or a Kuraz or a Delge, or anything within that range of 2400 attack and 1000 D, this guy is one of the best guys to go for, even if you have this in your graveyard. Plus, his effect allows you to shuffle a card on your opponent's field, graveyard, or hand. So say if you were playing stuff like Infernoids or whatnot, or anything that involves the field or the hand, you can pretty much disrupt their plays with this card. Yeah, but Erebus, definitely the guy to go for if you want to go into just putting dampers on your opponent's strategies on first hand. Next, we've got the Squires, which are 3 Erebus and 3 Eidos. This is by far one of the best combos to go off of first turn. Say if you get this and you activated getting an Eidos first turn. Some people do run the Vassals to kind of utilize more playability with Edea, but in my opinion, your best bet would be just to go with both Squires, just so that way you can have more consistency. So if you do that, and if you have Domain, you can tribute 1 and then get a Monarch with ease, because it reduces the level by 2, because it's a cost down for Monarchs. And with Edea, especially at your disposal, and say if you had a Pantheism that you used after utilizing both of its effects on the same turn, you can still get it back and then wait next turn, use it again, and then start the process all over. But overall, the best play to go off of are these two. These are your main play styles, your main plays to go off of first turn. Next we've got 1 Kuraz, mainly for the +1 ability. There were times where I actually did pop this card along with a Prime just to get the +2, and then set my field up completely so that way next turn, say if I had an Escalation ready to go, I can activate it, get another Monarch, or something else higher than that, or even a Majesty's Fiend, and then just sit on the board. one Caius. I know a lot of people find this tech choice a little off, but I like the fact that Caius still does that whole burn ability if you banish a dark. But I mainly run it just to banish some unnecessary cards that can put a damper on my strategies. And plus, it's easy to get out. I mean, especially if you have Escalation on the field, and say if you have like maybe a Prime Monarch, or even one of the Squires, or even one of the other Monarchs. Like say if they wanted to hit one of your cards or take control of one of your cards, or even try and target one of your cards if you don't have a March of the Monarch on the field beforehand. Do that, play Escalation, summon that, normal summon this after the tribute, activate, and then banish. Or if you want to shave off a few points off of your opponent's score, like say if they were at 500 or whatnot, or below 1,000, you can do this, banish itself, or banish a dark monster, and then just burn for game. It can be a really good situational card if you know how to run it right. But Caius, in my favor, never failed. Next we got one Caius the Mega Monarch. This is by far one of the most highly anticipated Monarchs to run in the deck. A majority of people said that the Talos was a little bit better because the chances of your opponent having a lot of monsters in their hands are high, and the burn damage is legit with that card. I was more in favor for Caius because I want to banish unnecessary stuff that can really hurt this deck. So, when in doubt, go for Caius. I mean, he's by far one of the best Monarchs in the game right now, next to the Mega Form. Next we got one Majesty's Fiend to kind of set up a lock for monster effects, because that's what's winning games right now, monster effects mainly, whether via Fluffles, via Cosmos, anything tier-based, or even rogue-based. Effect monsters are what's helping decks get more consistent plays now. And this guy will always be in your favor, especially with Monarchs. Yes, it hurts you a little bit, but if you know how to combo it off right, you can actually get a lock with a lot of other cards in your favor. Speaking of which, one Vanity's Fiend. I know a lot of people find this a little bit awkward that I'm running both of them in the main, but I like running them both mainly to just kind of set up that lock with no special summons and no monster effects. And I know what you all are thinking. Don't they cancel each other out? No. Basically, they're, I would say they're separate effects. So even though they sound a little bit bad especially in this deck, they're actually good on paper if you know how to combo them off right first turn. I've actually tried this once, and I will make a combo video using both of these especially with this deck. But they are really good to have to set up a lock, especially to shut down your opponent and prevent them from special summons and whatnot. It's really, really good against Infernoids, too, if they try to banish their stuff and get rid of whatever they need to special summon their beaters. Or Cosmos, if they decide to do whatever they need to special summon their other cards. But nonetheless, the Vanities duo never really hurts. So that's it for the monsters. Now onto the spells. The spell lineup is really, really high compared to the monster count, but overall, it really, really worked in my favor. So I'm going to start off with 3 Domain, one of the best field spells to run in Monarchs, especially if you were running a pure Monarch version, which I will upload later on in the future. I'm still in the process of getting some of the cards. I have some of the rest of the Mega Monarchs. I just need one Grand Marg and a couple of other cards, but that's besides that. This card is basically a godsend for Monarchs. What it does, it's basically a cost down. It reduces, say if you had a 2800 beat stick with 1000 defense in your hand. Basically it reduces the level by 2, and it makes it easier to tribute summon. So if you wanted to go for Escalation or whatnot, well, you can't really do that on their turn because this works on your turn. So say if you wanted to utilize this on your main phase or whatnot, before you go straight into attacking and all, do this, activate that, and then you can summon your Ehther, go straight off the effect, get your loops going, get whatever you need, and then just summon another Monarch, and then possibly get more floaters on board if you just special summon the Eidos and whatnot, because Eidos gives you that extra summon off of a tribute. Next we got 3 Pantheism. This card is broken. And the fact that you can use both effects in one shot on one turn, it makes it really, really fun. Basically what it does, especially in your hand, if you have a Monarch spell or trap card, you can dump this, and you can dump that spell or trap, and then you can +2 off of it. Plus, if it's in the graveyard, you can banish it, and then recruit for, like, maybe a play set of Tenacities, or 2 Tenacities and another card, so that way you can kind of get more leverage into getting more control for the game. But overall, Pantheism is by far one of the best spells to run in Monarchs. You have to run this at 3. It's a no-brainer to try it. Next, we've got 3 Tenacities. You have to reveal a Monarch or a Majesty's Fiend to do it. Well, any Monarch via 2800 or 2400. Just as long as they're 1000 defense as well, you should be fine. But Tenacity is one of your best recruiters for spells next to Pantheism. 3 Stormforth. I would run Strike, but I like running a playset of these because it makes it easier to go off of, especially if you play Escalation on your opponent's turn. You can activate this, make that quick play go off, and then go straight into a Tribute Summon, and then possibly get a free Vanity's Fiend or a free Majesty's Fiend or another Ehther. Next, we've got 1 Return, basically to recruit your Monarchs or to recruit your Fiends. You can't recruit Vanities for that one purpose because its defense is 1200. They purposely did that for a reason, because otherwise they would have nerfed Vanity's Fiend for good. 1 March, basically to kind of set up a lock to make your Monarchs or your Majesty's Fiend impervious to basically anything that targets them. Just as long as you have a tribute monster, you're good. 1 Rhoda to get your Edea into your hand. 1 1-for-1 for that special summon. 1 Foolish. And mainly just for the Eidos or the Erebus play, but I hardly use it. Even though it is good to have, you never know when you're going to use it. So I figured, why not just try it out in this? And it was really, really good, and it was always in my favor for most of the plays that I've done. Now, onto the traps. I only run 6, which are, of course, 1 playset of Escalation. This is really, really good against your opponent, especially during their main phases and their battle phases. But nonetheless, I have no regrets for using this. You should try this in spades. It's really, really awesome. And lastly, 3 Prime. Basically, it helps you recycle back your Monarch spell and traps, and then after that, say if this were in your graveyard, for example, after you dumped it for a Pantheism's effect or whatnot, you can special summon this in D, and then after that, tribute summon it with something else, or pop this card for a +1 for Kuraz's effect or whatnot, and then just utilize their effects off from there. But Prime is by far one of the best trap cards to run in 2s or in 3s. Some people run the first Monarch in this deck, believe it or not, but in my opinion, it's best to run just these and these, because you are going to be doing a lot of hefty plays with Monarchs. But overall, this deck is by far one of the most highly anticipated decks to compete with in any given tournament, on any given day. This is great nonetheless. So, hope you all enjoyed this video. Please leave a like and favorite if you did, and hit me up in the comments if you want to see more. And until next time, this is Smash Adams signing out.